Hey, I'm Healander. Today I want to talk about Arc Raiders. I've been playing it for a while now. I've got about 75 hours or so into the game. Figured I want to talk a little bit about what I like about the game, what I don't like about the game, where I think maybe the game can go from here. Let's get into it. So first, some of the stuff that I like. It's overall, I think it's a good game. This is one of the first extraction shooters that I've ever played. I played a little bit of DMZ in like one of the Call of Duty games 2 or 3 iterations ago. That was not purely an extraction shooter, but played a little bit of that. So this is my first delve into the extraction shooter genre, but I enjoy it. I think if you are similar to me and you haven't played a lot of extraction shooters, you're not like a super hardcore extraction shooter player, I think this is a great game to start with. It's got a kind of easy way to go into it. There's a pretty good way that the game kind of operates, and other players in the game allow it to be good for more casual players coming in. If you, from what I understand, although I haven't played those games, if you play a game like Tarkov or Delta Force or something that requires a little bit more kind of heavy thought and effort and talent going into it, that can be like a harder sort of way to break into the genre. So I think this is a good game for that opportunity. Um, Along that line, and something that I think is good about what Arc Raiders has done is it has this great sense of community. I think it was somewhat surprising for the company, Embark, and the game itself. They opened the doors for this community to exist, and the players ran with it, and that's great. Like a lot of the games that I get into, most of the games that I get into are very friendly. Everyone's kind of trying to do the same objectives. Everyone's trying to kill Ark. Everyone's trying to get their loot and that kind of stuff and move on. And I think that's a great thing about the game. So the next big thing that I like about the game is its ability to play the way that you want to. So I'm a very PvE focused player. I want to go in, I want to get the loot that I want to get, I want to kill some Ark, maybe do some quests, do some missions, do a project, something like that, and I can play that way. I generally get games, not always, generally get games that are like that, and that's what I like about the game. On the flip side, if you want to play PvP, there are myriad of opportunities that you can do that. So Embark has talked a lot about this kind of aggression-based matchmaking. That if you go in and you shoot a lot of players, then they put that in whatever algorithm, and then you get more games where other people who want to shoot players can be in there. And then if you don't, like me, and you go in and you help people and you revive other players and you drop loot for them and that kind of stuff, they use that in some sort of algorithmic decision making into what types of players that you get in similar games. So you can do either PvE or PvP or a little bit of both if you want in there. They have these trials where you can do kind of special little tasks. You kill a bunch of flying arc, or you kill a bunch of ground arc, or you loot these kind of things. Some people take those super seriously, which is great. I think that's a good opportunity for players who want to do that. Maybe the kind of players who try to like 100% a game and they really want to get all of the things. Trials are a great opportunity for that. Special events, they have electromagnetic storms and night raids and harvesters and queens and matriarchs and all kinds of stuff. All of these different kind of special event type things that change the map just a little bit. Going into each game, I mean, in theory, it's going to be slightly different because you're going to get different players and you spawn at a different point. But generally, if you play the same map over and over, it can get kind of redundant. And these special events can kind of change it up a little bit. It can be a different amount of enemy or different types of players that you get, or maybe they kind of change the rules in the game. I think that's potentially an opportunity for something they can expand on. But currently, those special events are good for us. And then obviously, just like any game, you can get the kind of meme ways of playing where people like ride on top of rocketeers and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But what I generally like about the game is you can play it in a bunch of different ways, and it caters to a bunch of different play styles. So next, I think we would want to talk about things that I generally don't like from the game. So I've got one kind of main category and then a kind of smaller thing beyond that. So the main category that I don't like about the game is, in my opinion, I think it has generally pretty limited end game content. So I am a more PvE focused player. From my perspective, the only way to go in this game is to go into PvP. I mean, I'm basically reaching a threshold where there's not a lot more I can do without fighting other players. Like, without going in and I want to see how many players I can fight, or if I can do Stella at night and fight players or something. Generally, it's pushing me towards that. I think the game at the end game level is pushing you towards PvP. Because from a PvE perspective, what is there really to do? You could do the matriarch or the queen or the harvester. You could do blueprint farming. You could do whatever this next expedition that is coming on. But that's kind of it. And like the matriarch queen harvester thing, where you kill matriarchs or queens to get cores, and so you can use cores to make epic guns. But then the epic guns are what's good against matriarchs and queens. So that's kind of a catch-22 of its own. But generally, I think they're kind of limited in where they're going to go from a PvE perspective, unless they introduce new bosses or new map types or something that's going to allow that to happen. So again, I think my biggest hang-up is that they're pushing you towards PvP. Because otherwise, like, you can kill so many Ark, and you can kill so many Rocketeers and Bombardiers and Queens and that kind of stuff, but eventually, like, once you get a certain number of those kills, there's not really that much challenge in it. I guess that's where the PvP can come in, but from someone who doesn't necessarily want to do that in this game, it feels like there's stuff kind of left out for me to do. So that's my big kind of hang up with it. Ultimately, though, I think it's good. I think I probably will go into PvP, to see what it is. What I think, though, is that's going to be sort of my decline of the game. I like the game up to where it is now. I think once I delve into PvP, I might say, this really isn't for me and I need to move on to a new game, but is what it is. And then I have kind of a niche, small issue that I have, and that's late spawns. I hate spawning into a raid and there's like less than 30 minutes left, especially if you get like one of the really late spawns. I think is like 17 minutes for the latest one. So frustrating. I do think, however, that's again focused on the PvP crowd. Because when I watch people who do a lot of PvP, they kind of have to think through the tactics of, okay, we fought this team over there and we won this fight or whatever. I hear a team doing this thing over here, but more teams are about to spawn in the next couple of minutes or something. But from like the PvE perspective, if I don't spawn at the very beginning of the raid, then either all of the good loot spots are taken, or if you're trying to do one of those, end game content things like the matriarch, somebody's probably already fighting it. Or there's probably, 50 people waiting for, queen cores to drop near the harvester or something. So for me, late spawns, frustrating. It's kind of a smaller thing in the grand scheme of things, but that's my thoughts on that. So, like I said, I'm generally enjoying Arc Raiders. I'd like to know your thoughts, so leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Where would you want to see the game go from here? Any recommendations on games that I should play next? I've got a link in here to some of my Arc Raiders content, so you can watch and see. I stream on Twitch, and then I upload those to YouTube, so feel free to take a look at those and give me your thoughts. Thanks.